The battlefield, chaos, shouts, metal clashing in every direction. They called it Roman glory. But for the men inside that storm, it felt more like a nightmare. And what about those who survived? Not the ones celebrated in triumph, but the ones who came home changed, in body and in spirit. Rome built arches for its generals and gave thanks to its gods after every victory. But the ordinary soldier returned unseen, carrying marks the city refused to look at. This story is about them, the forgotten ones who made it home, but never truly returned. Roman warfare was personal and ruthless. There was no distance, no escape. A soldier's weapon was simple, but his courage had to be greater. Even a short battle could leave him changed forever. When the fighting ended, survival was only the beginning. Injuries, exhaustion, and trauma were a part of every victory, though few dared to speak of it. Ancient medical writings describe wounds that were hard to treat with the tools they had. The camps had their doctors, known as medici, who worked with the knowledge of their time. They used wine, vinegar, and herbal medicines to clean and soothe. But in the harsh world of Roman war, not every life could be saved. Still, the Medici were respected for their courage. They made impossible choices. Who could be helped and who could not? But there was another kind of suffering that left no visible mark, what we now call trauma. Soldiers who returned without a scratch often carried invisible wounds that haunted them for years. Roman society didn't understand this. It called their silence weakness and their pain a lack of virtue. A good man, they said, endures everything. Writers like Tacitus mentioned veterans who avoided people, stayed silent, and struggled to fit back into society. They were alive, but something inside them had died on the battlefield. Rome could train soldiers, conquer empires, and build monuments, but it didn't know how to heal the minds it broke. Every Roman camp had a valetudinarium, an early form of a military hospital. Here, soldiers were treated for injuries and illnesses, and some recovered enough to serve again. But infection and poor conditions were constant threats. Without modern knowledge of germs or hygiene, even small wounds could become deadly. Many who survived battle later lost their lives to sickness. Rome's medical system was organized and disciplined, but compassion often came second to practicality. The army's main goal was to keep its legions moving, not to ease every pain. For those who did survive, Rome offered rewards, land, pensions, and citizenship after long years of service. But many wounded men never reached that point. If discharged early for medical reasons, they lost most of those benefits. They returned home to uncertainty, some finding small jobs, others relying on family, and too many fading into poverty. Rome honored strength and perfection, not scars and weakness. The empire celebrated victory, not the cost behind it. Some veterans were reassigned to lighter duties, record keepers, trainers, or guards. It was a way to stay useful and maintain dignity. But when times grew hard, even those roles vanished. And for the few who were expelled in dishonor, life after war was even crueler. They lost their names, rights, and respect, forgotten by the empire they had once defended. Over time, emperors tried to change that. Augustus created the Aerarium Militare, a military fund meant to pay veterans their due pensions. It worked for a while, but as corruption and crisis took over, the system failed. Many died waiting for help that never came. In the streets of great cities, you could find ex-soldiers living in silence, their glory days long gone. They were the backbone of Rome's power, yet the empire turned its eyes away. Rome conquered continents, built cities, and left monuments that still stand today. But behind every triumph, carved in marble, stood thousands of men who paid the price in pain and silence. This isn't a story about generals or glory. It's about the common soldier, the ones who lost friends, hope, and sometimes even themselves. Because surviving the Roman war wasn't the end. It was just the beginning of another battle, one against loneliness, pain, and being forgotten. If this story moved you, subscribe to the channel so more voices from history can be heard again. And tell us in the comments, did Rome truly honor its soldiers? As always, may Mars guide you in battle.